Donald Trump was at a UN event in Manhattan today, and it was closed to the media. However, there were reports immediately following the event that he was throwing out conspiracy theories about the individual who informed the whistleblower, who then later filed a formal whistleblower complaint against Donald Trump because of his conversation with the president of Ukraine. Now, during this UN event, Donald Trump went on to say insane things about this informant to the whistleblower. Take a listen.
But basically, that person never saw the report, never saw the call, meaning never saw the call, heard something, and decided that he or she, whoever the hell it is, sort of like almost a spy. I want to know who's the person that gave the whistleblower, who's the person that gave the whistleblower the information, because that's close to a spy. You know what we used to do in the old days when we were smart, right? The spies and treason. We used to handle it a little differently than we do now.
So when he refers to handling spies a little differently, he's referring to executions. So he is putting out an unfounded claim that this individual is a spy, and then he is suggesting that this individual should be executed. I mean, this is out of control. And by the way, the event was closed to the media, but apparently someone who was there, and again, this is an official UN event, recorded what Donald Trump was saying and then gave it to the Los Angeles Times.
Yeah, look, I actually thought William Weld talking about treason and the penalty for it is death was too much. And so Weld is the former Republican governor of Massachusetts, and he said that in regards to Donald Trump committing treason by working with a foreign government against a political opponent here in the US. We got to bring that language down, okay? We're not going to execute anybody that's crazy talk. So now Donald Trump is saying, if anyone in the government betrays me, is loyal to the Constitution, is loyal to the laws and loyal to America, but betrays me personally, well, I'm going to call that spy, I'm going to call that treason, and remind you what the penalty for that is. So for the president to make that kind of threat, it's deeply troubling as usual.
Make that kind of threat and make these kinds of statements at a UN event, right? Like we're talking about international leaders, diplomats. This is obviously a domestic issue, right? And he's facing an impeachment inquiry as a result of it. I mean, he's using these UN events to vent about his own personal issues. And just to give you more, Trump repeatedly referred to the whistleblower and condemned the news media reporting on the complaint as crooked. Some in the crowd laughed, which you could hear in that audio recording. The person briefed on what took place said, the event was closed to reporters, and during his remarks, the president called the news media scum in addition to labeling them crooked. I mean, this is supposed to be the leader of a so-called democracy going after the media, which is supposed to be protected by our Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, what he went on to say, these animals in the press, they're animals, some of the worst human beings you'll ever meet. Okay, so now this is not the first time that he's called people animals. He of course did it in regards to immigrants as well, and went on to say they're scum. Many of them are scum. And then you have some good reporters, but not many of them, I'll be honest with you. Reminds you very much of what he said about immigrants too. Mexicans are coming in, they're animals, they're rapists, they're criminals. There's some that are good, but not many. And so here he is again now doing it about the reporters. And this is, well, look, it's the talk of a fascist. It is. That's what fascists do. Hey, don't get information from reporters. Get my propaganda instead. I'm going to call them subhuman. I'm going to call them scum. We're going to target them. We're going to call them the enemy of the people. This is, look, it's not remotely hyperbole. That is exactly what fascists do. And other sets of groups of people are also less than human. And it's an infestation, an invasion. Same language that was used in Germany. And also for him, the context of the United Nations and moments that are supposed to be sober and cerebral, etc.
Cerebral.
I mean, they're completely lost on him. He has no sense of context, and so, I'm not surprised that he's saying these outrageous things. That's what he's always said, and I'm not surprised that he's saying it in that context. What we got to do is take action, and luckily, finally, impeachment is happening, because if you let this become the norm, well, then we've got significant trouble. Then freedom of the press is actually in jeopardy. And again, most importantly, the threats of violence. He did it at the rallies, punched them in the face, I'll pay your bills. I remember the good old days, another reference to that he did here, right? He said in the good old days, they'd get carried out on stretchers. And that was in regards to protesters, some of them African Americans. I don't think that was the good old days, but he does. And talking about how it was great that a Republican congressman body slammed a reporter.
Yeah.
So the threats of violence, also fascism 101.
I'm gonna make a comment, and I don't really make feminist arguments on this show often because we don't cover that material as much. But I just wanna remind everyone that women are the ones who are constantly told that they're over emotional and their emotions get in the way of them being able to do their jobs effectively. Here we have the President of the United States who is so overwhelmed with emotion that he is ineffective at doing what he is supposed to do as the President of the United States. He is in front of the United Nations venting and crying and whining about his legal troubles domestically.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But he has no sense of anything. Look, I'll give you two more quotes from this event, and it gives you a sense of it. One, he says, then you have sleepy Joe Biden, who's dumb as a rock. This guy was dumb on his best day, and he's not having his best day right now. He's dumb as a rock. I mean, I've never seen a case of projection more clear than that.
This is the biggest glass house in the world.
That's right. I mean, president releases a call where he implicates himself in a crime very clearly, because he's dumb as a rock, and he's not on his best day, and he wasn't bright on his best day. And then finally, on a funny note, he says, they're talking about me and I didn't do anything. But this is my favorite. I don't know if I'm the most innocent person in the world. Really? Really? I mean, imagine you're a world leader and you're listening to this guy who's like, that guy's dumb as a rock.
Yeah, you're listening to this guy who's assisting Saudi Arabia in the death and destruction of the Yemenis, including all those children. Most innocent guy in the world.
Yeah, and he says the reporters are scum while he's assisting the Saudis who chopped up a reporter.
Exactly.
Okay, and then he goes, this is it. Oh, look, maybe we, in the old days we used to have different things for treason, and you know how it is. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm the most innocent man in the world. They all had to be like, oh, when is this international nightmare going to be over? I mean, this is the most powerful country in the world, led by an obvious imbecile and an obvious criminal. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.